back in action with this Wednesday's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed last week's video where we learned the camel stitch and how we're able to use half double crochet stitches to create a whole new stitch pattern. So this time I'm actually going to go back to the down here, and we're going to be using this stitch here, which is the double crochet stitch. So if you guys remember how to do it, I'm going to go ahead and go through it again. We're going to be using that stitch to create this new pattern. So again, we're going to be taking our color off and starting with a new color. This week I decided on using this cream white color with a little bit of specks in it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Always pull from the center. Micha, can you bring me scissors? Ugh, you cats are worthless. Oh! So we're going to need some shears, obviously. So every single time I start a new row, a new color, when I do the add-on, I do it a little bit differently, but I'm just showing you guys different ways as I do it, that you can totally do it however you want. I'm gonna cut this down, tie a couple knots. Okay, now my strings are inwards. So I'm going to do 2. I just did 1. There's 2. And then we'll flip our work around to the other side. Starting the new color is always a bit tricky because we always have these little ends. Or if you do it the magic knot way where you can just twist it on your fingers and pull. Which I'll show you guys that again in next week's video, since I just already did it this way. We have to hold these pieces down and we're going to crochet over them. So we're doing double. So you go yarn over the hook, go to the first stitch, go through both front and back loop. Make sure your end pieces are laying down in front of that. Yarn over, pull under the yarn pieces, the ends, and through those 2 loops here, the stitch. We have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So we just created our first double crochet stitch for this row. Yarn over, find the next stitch, holding those end pieces down, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, next stitch, under our end pieces, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and see, we've started creating our double crochet stitches. So we're going to continue doing this. Again, that's yarn over, through our stitch, under our end pieces, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, next stitch. I'm going to continue doing this. So when you guys find the next stitch, remember that it's not through here and here. It might look correctly to you, but if you pull this apart and really look at it, it's actually here and here. So it's not, I mean, you can do it. If you do it this way, it's totally fine. Just make sure you do that same direction all the way down. And I'm going through the back set. So I'm going to continue this. We're going to finish 1 row of this. And then when we get to the second row, that's where some fun is going to begin with this stitch. You guys can pause the video, come back when you're done, or continue watching and you can replay the video later on when you pick up your work. We're finishing up the first row, double crochet stitch. Okay, so that was my last loop there on the end. So this is the very end. This is where I would just chain 1, and that would basically be it. but we're starting another row, so chain 2, and then flip your work around to the other side. So we've got these beautiful stitches, and when you pull them apart a little bit like this, you can see that they create these nice little stitches that are like stacked. It's a set of 2 stitches stacked. That's why it's called the double crochet stitch. What people call these little stacked stitches are posts. So there's different ways to go through these posts, and I'm going to show you. So you could go inside that bigger hole. So this is normally the stitch right here that you would go into, but some people actually go in this hole and then out the other, which is like around that double stacked stitch. All right, so there's ones called front post and back post. This is front post, where you go in and then out, and then you have your post on the front. You can swing around, pull the working yarn through, and start creating stitches. Or there's another thing called back post. That's where you take your hook and go around the back, up through, and then push the post to the back, and then go out the other way. And now you have the post on the back of your hook. And then you can loop around, pull through, and start a stitch. So I'm going to be working with the front. So I'm going to loop around the hook, and instead of going into the first stitch, would be right here, is that first stitch. As you guys can see, when you turn your work pointing upwards, you have those V's right here, all these stitches. There's the first V. We're not going into that. Make sure you have, your working yarn around your hook. So 2 loops around the hook. We're actually going to pull this apart and look for the first larger hole, which is right here where my finger is and the hook is. We're going to go into that hole and around this post into the second larger hole like that. We're going to loop around and pull through or underneath that first post. Then pull your work up above like this, so it's a little bit looser. So that top loop, or that last loop we just did, will be a little bit looser than these 2 loops, as you can see right here, because we want to pull our work up here. So make sure you do this a little bit looser than normal. Loop around and pull through 2, loop around and pull through 2. Okay? So that's what our stitch is going to look like. So when we go on the next row, we have other posts to go through. That makes sense. Loop around and we'll find the next post. It's right here, so we're going to go, we've already went in this hole, like out through the other way, but we're going to go into the hole, out this hole, loop around, pull underneath, pull up, loop around, pull through 2, loop around and pull through 2. Loop around, next stitch, which is right here, into the post, other side, loop around, pull through, pull up, loop around the hook, pull through 2, loop around and pull through 2. So I hope that makes sense, and you can see we have made more double stacked stitches or double crochet stitch right here that are in direct line with these ones right here. So we're going to continue doing that stitch, and this is what the back is going to look like. It pushes out this stitch right here, so that's going to look like that on the back. So I'm approaching the last couple things on this row. So I'm going to finish this up really quick. And then I'm going to show you guys how to start the next row, which will be considered row 3 because we did 1 and this is 2. And then we're going to do 3 and then that's where we're going to stop. We're just going to do 3 rows. I just don't even know if I have enough yarn left over. This is what I got left. It's gonna go quick. because we are using double crochet stitches. So sorry about my furnace keeps kicking on, you know, we're under this winter whatever advisory. This last part right here, you can see there's 2 double stitches that are right next to each other, but if you pull it apart you can actually find the little hole that you need to go into. They're just super close to each other. And then instead of actually going through here, through that last one, we're not going to do that. We're going to actually stitch up here above it. I know it seems a little weird, but that's how we end off the row. So we need to find 2 loops, which is right, I can see it, it's really hard here. Front and back loop on the top of that stitch. 1, 2, okay? Loop around, pull through those 2, got 3 loops, loop around, pull through 2, loop around, pull through 2, and we've completed a row of front post double stitch. I don't know what it's called. So this is what the back looks like. It pushes out this nice stitch right here, so you can create a really cool pattern. So go ahead and stitch 1, 2, and then turn the work. Okay, so this time we are going to be working in the back side because I want to still push this piece. Like if I lay it flat, it pushes this outwards. So the next one will be pushed outward as well, like this way. So let's go ahead and try that. So instead of going front post, we're going to do back post. And this is preference. You can keep going with the front. If you want to do the front, you would just then find not this one here, but this one here, and just go this way, just how we did, and continue with your crocheting. So we'll loop around, and we're going to find the back, which you can always turn your work to find it, but honestly, if you just pull these apart a little bit, you can see where my finger is. That is where we need to go in through the back. So through the back, around this post, through this hole, loop around, and we're going to pull through that, pull it towards the top, 3 loops, loop around, pull through 2, loop around, pull through 2. Alright, I'll do that again, loop around, looking for that next stitch, it's right here. So go to the back, hook up through that hole, here's the next hole, so over that post, loop around, pull through, 3 loops, loop around, pull through 2, loop around, pull through 2. Okay, we'll do that again. Loop around, finding that next stitch, and you can tell where it is. It's right here. Because this stitch, if I pull this up, this stitch that we just did is connected with this stitch right here. So it's this one where my thumb is. On the back side, up through that hole, over the post, through the other hole, loop around, pull through, 3 loops, loop around, pull through 2, loop around, pull through 2, loop around, next stitch. So hopefully this isn't too hard for you guys. If you have any questions, leave them below. I'm going as slow as I think is necessary to show you guys. If you can't do this, don't worry, it's not a big deal. Just go ahead and do a 3 rows of double crochet stitches. Maybe that will help kind of get the feel of just the stitch, the double crochet stitch. And if you don't remember, just go ahead and rewind this to the beginning of this video, and you could go ahead and just do those and not worry about this post, back and front post situation. But that is the stitch we're learning this week, and you can create so many cool designs using this front and back post method, or stitch I should say. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of this off camera. Okay, and I wanted to point out this is what it's going to start looking like. Since we're going in back post, it's pushing that ridge, that set of stitches, like this way towards us this time. So it's going to create these cool like lines going across your work. Kind of similar to what we did down here, but the lines are on this side. And then this is how the front looks. It just looks like the crochets keep going in a line all the way this way. So you'll have like stitches that go in lines this way. The back side you'll have stitches going that way. So it's kind of a cool thing to do. And I'm gonna be finishing up the third row here, and then that's where we're gonna call it quits. So again, loop around, and it's a little tricky because you're trying to find that last post. There's 2 on the end, remember, because we have our starting stitches and then we have that next post. So we're gonna go back behind through this hole, and right here's the stitch right there. Loop around, pull through, loop around, pull through 2, loop around, pull through 2, and then we have one more stitch, and it's not through any of these bigger holes. Loop around. We're going to find it up here and attach it, because the end of our rows are a little bit different. We're just finding this right here. There's 2 front and back loop, which is like a normal stitch. Loop around, pull through, loop around, pull through 2, loop around, pull through 2. And that finishes off, and it leaves a nice straight line. I mean, it doesn't look as straight right now, you know, but that's how you finish off that row. And then if you wanted to continue going, which I only have a little bit left, so I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next stitch, which will be in next Wednesday's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you learned something new. This is the back, and it could be front or back for you, just depending on if you started with the back post or the front post. But this is the back of my work. This is the front of the work. So it's going to look like straight lines going up and down. On the back, it's lines going this way. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up for me. And I hope to see you guys in next Wednesday's video, where I'll be teaching you guys a new stitch. New color, new stitch. See you guys in the next video. Bye!